Okay, so today we'll be seeing another example. So this is related to music. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is slightly advanced version of factor analysis, but we are including it here just to give us an idea of what all possible applications are there for factor analysis. Okay, so this is data related to music. So what type of data has been collected? So let me show you. Okay, so there are some statements. Okay, there are some statements which have been given. See, these are the statements, and then people have been asked to give rating whether they agree with those statement or whether they don't agree at all. So there is a, yes, 5 point scale. 1 means fully disagree, 5 means fully agree. Oh, I have not shared my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Okay, so can you see the screen now? Can you see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so I will show you the statements. So they have given a list of statements, and every individual who answered the questionnaire was required to rate each of the statement on a 5 point scale. So whether they fully agree, 5 points, fully disagree, 1 point, and then intermediate points in between. Okay, so the study is basically to see how different people appreciate music. Okay, so what are the ways in which different people appreciate music? Different people means they have three categories of people. One is people who are actually professionally into music, so they are professional musicians, or they have some professional activities which are related to music which they have been doing. Secondly, people who have had some formal training in music but they are not professional musicians, so they have some other activities as their profession, they are doing career in some other way, but they have had some formal music training. And third is amateurs, so they don't have music training, and of course music is not their profession also, so they just like music and they listen to music just for the sake of enjoyment as a hobby. Okay, so this is the these are the statements that they had given. So for example, I'm always looking for new music, and then people were asked to write on the basis of their own experience. So are you a type of person who is always looking for new music? Then you will say fully agree to this. If you don't do that at all, then you will say fully disagree, that is 5 or 1. Then I inform myself about the music I like. I spend quite a bit of money on music and related items. See, this is important. Most of the people who are uh, listening to music purely as an amateur hobby may not spend money on music. They might stream or download the music that is freely available and then enjoy it. Okay, then in my free time I hardly listen to music, so some people may not even like music, so they may not be listening. Then I sometimes feel chills when I hear a melody that I like. So these are different statements that they had given.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes,
Have you shared the screen?
yes, I have. You can't see?
No, ma'am. Can you check? Huh?
Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is visible.
Okay, okay, yeah, so these are the statements as I was saying. So music keeps me company when I'm alone, music comforts me, music calms and relaxes me. Then yeah, these two are different types. I can't help humming or singing along the music that I like. Then I don't like to dance, but even with music I like. Okay, whereas there is another option, I think, where it says okay, yeah, so we will see the statements again when we are going to talk more about them. But basically, one point to be noted is, for some statements a musician might say fully agree, whereas an amateur person might say fully disagree. But there are reverse cases also. Okay, so in general also, when you are giving a questionnaire, this is something that, and if you are giving statements of this type where people are supposed to rate the statements on the scale of 1 to 5, there this is something you should remember. Okay, you should not have questions only in one direction. Okay, what do I mean by that? Like, ideal answer for all the statements should not be 5 for that entire group. Okay, so some negative statements should also be there. For example, here you have music helps me chill out, music calms and relaxes me, etc. On the other hand, here I don't like to dance, not even with the music I like, or I can't I hardly listen to music. Yeah, in my free time I hardly listen to music. So these are kind of negative statements. So in general also, whenever you are designing a questionnaire, you should remember that you should have such types of statements, both positive as well as negative. Okay, because that makes people more aware of what they are writing when they are answering the questionnaire, and that gives you more reliable data. Okay. Okay, so now they carried out factor analysis. So on the basis of factor analysis, the this is the type of rotation that they performed. They got some minimum rank factor analysis was carried out, and then this Procrustean rotation was applied to it. As I said, we are not going to study these in theory, but I told you because finally we want to see the application. Okay, usual factor analysis may not work well with this data because this is categorical data. This is not a continuous data. So maximum likelihood estimation you cannot do. Even in PCA there will be limitations. So that's why they have gone for polychoric correlation and this minimum rank factor analysis. We don't need to worry about those words. So here this is the loading matrix, and they have arranged the variables. So these are variables for them. These questions are their variables because these are the points on which they had obtained the data, correct? So these variables right now they have ordered in such a way that variables which have higher loadings in a particular factor, they are clubbed together. Okay, so these are the original serial numbers. So 1 is actually this. When I share music with someone, I feel a special connection with that person. This was question number 1 or variable number 1. But they have rearranged the variables in such a way that they can easily see on every factor which variables are clubbed together. In fact, you should see this also as a good way of representation. When you report something, may not be in your practical exam. In practical exam you may report as per the given sequence, but if you are doing some data analysis type of assignment, you may want to change the sequence of your variable so that you can also highlight things which are similar. Okay, so for example, now in this first factor, these first 4 variables, first 4 by this order, these variables have very high loadings, whereas others have comparatively low loadings. Can you see the loadings here? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what are these 4 variables? I am always looking for new music. I inform myself about music I like. I spend quite a bit of money on music and related items, and so these 3 have positive loadings, and then in my free time I hardly listen to music has a negative loading because it is opposite to these. A person who is always looking for new music, who informs himself or herself about music they like, and please wait a minute. Please wait a minute. I am having some network issues. Yeah, sorry. Since yesterday university Wi-Fi is down, so there have been a lot of issues. That's why I couldn't upload the lecture, yesterday's lecture in the afternoon, because it was not getting uploaded on my mobile data. Okay, so yeah, so these 3 variables have high positive loadings on this factor, and this variable, in my free time I hardly listen to music, which is anyway opposite, has a negative loading, okay, and high negative loading. So we can say that the first factor somehow controls these four variables, okay. And now they have gone one step ahead and given a name to this factor. So they are calling this factor a musical seeking behavior, music seeking behavior. So MS is music seeking behavior. Now you can see here, I am always looking for new music, I inform myself about music I like, and I spend money on music and related items. Means I am actively seeking music if I have a high score on this particular factor. So I am a type of person who is actively seeking or pursuing music if I have a high score on factor 1. Okay. Hence this factor has been named as music seeking factor. Okay. So that way this example is quite beautiful. They could actually name all the factors. Okay. So the next factor is, yeah, so in the next factor these are the variables which have high loadings. Okay, these four, 0.86, 77, 73, 73. These are low and even others are quite low. So what are these four? I sometimes feel chills when I hear a melody I like. I can become tearful or cry when I listen to the melody that I like very much. I get emotional listening to pieces of music, and I like to listen to music that contains emotion. So all these are related to emotional attachment to the music, correct? So that's why they have named it as emotional evocation. Okay, so they are indicating emotional connection to music. So people who have higher scores on this factor, for them these four variables have higher values, these four questions have received higher ratings, which means that these people emotionally connect with the music that they like. Got it? Then next is, in the next factor, these are the four variables which have very high values. Music helps me chill out, music calms and relaxes me, music comforts me, and music keeps me company when I am alone. When I am feeling alone, then music keeps me company. So basically here people who have higher, who have given say mostly agree or fully agree to these four, they will be type of people who use music to elevate their mood, right? Music helps me chill out. So if I am panicking or if I want to relax, then I listen to music. If I want to just take a pause from all my busy schedule and I want to relax, then music helps me. Music comforts me. Comforts means I may be slightly depressed, okay, then at that time music comforts me. And if I am feeling alone, then music keeps me company. So that's why this factor has been named as mood regulation. So relaxation, elimination of loneliness, etc., such mood related variables have high loadings here. So this factor is called as mood regulation. Okay. Then in the next factor, these four variables have high loadings, and among those four, the first three have positive, whereas the last one is negative. Music often makes me dance. When I hear a tune I like a lot, I can't help tapping or moving to its beat. I can't help humming or singing along to the music I like. And this one is opposite. I don't like to dance, not even with music I like. Okay, so this is opposite, and it has actually come up with a negative sign in this factor. So this factor they have called as sensory motor, because now you are doing some activity, you are dancing to the music, you are tapping to the music, you are humming along with that music. Okay, whereas the negative side is saying that okay, I don't like to dance even if I like that music. So this is sensory motor. So you have some good sensations about that music, and you are expressing those sensations through some movements. Movements include singing, dancing, tapping, etc. Okay, hence this factor has been named as sensory motor. And the last factor has high readings on these four variables. I like to sing or play an instrument with other people. With other people is the crucial part. When I share music with someone, I feel a special connection with that person. Then music makes me bond with other people. So for example, if two people like same type of music, do they actually feel connected? And at a concert, I feel connected to the performers and the audience. So in all these four variables, some other person is involved. Okay, so there is an amount of social connection. Hence, this factor has been termed as social reward. So, people who have higher scores on these four, they would be using music as a social reward, because music is helping them connect with other people, music is helping them share a bond with other people. Okay, hence these are the five factors that they could identify by grouping these variables into five. And actually, I mean, it's a very classic textbook example, because everything is well sorted out. In every factor they are getting exactly four variables, so things are pretty sorted out. Okay, and now one more interesting point is yeah, okay, so what they did was, so this is another very important point. Should we simply do factor analysis and just report the outputs? No, you can go one step ahead and use those factors to get more insights about your population. So what they did was, along with this questionnaire, they have asked data on, say, ages, age groups of different people. Okay, so they are now using that age related information and the scores that they obtained on these factors to get more insights into the data. Okay, so what they have done, see here, uh, age groups, so 18 to 23, 24 to 29, these are the age groups. And now let us see the first factor, musical seeking behavior. So we can see that as the age, the youngest people, they are more active on this factor, they have higher scores on this factor. And by the way, the horizontal bars here, they are confidence intervals. So if the confidence intervals are not overlapping, that would mean that there is a significant difference. So from age group 18 to 23 and 24 to 29, there is a significant difference, because this lower bound is above, slightly above this upper bound. So there is a significant difference across these two age groups as far as musical seeking behavior is concerned. And it's quite obvious that the younger generation is more active, they are aware of the new music, etc. Older generation may not be aware, correct? So as you go further, it is still decreasing. And in fact, you can see 24 to 29 and 30 to 35, the difference is not significant, there is slightly overlapping part. In fact, 30 to 35 and 36 to 41, they are almost common intervals, so there is not much of a difference. Even this group, so 30 to 47, 30 to 47, these people in these age groups, they are more or less having similar scores on musical seeking behavior. Okay, so they are more or less equally active or inactive, whatever you want to call, as far as seeking music actively is concerned. Okay, whereas greater than 54, this is now significantly different than this age group. Okay, and this is intermediate. 48 to 53 is intermediate, it is not significantly different from this, and it is not significantly different from higher group also, higher age group also. Okay, so as I said, we should not really just stop after doing factor analysis, we should go and do some such further analysis, because that is going to give us more insight, that is actually making proper use of factor analysis. So here we got to know that yes, the younger generation is going to be more actively seeking new music. So if suppose you want, I mean, had this been an exercise by some company which releases music albums, etc., then whom should they target? They should try to target the younger generation, because they are more likely to spend money on buying things, or they are more likely to actively seek the music. Okay, similarly, if I go for this emotional evocation, there is not much difference across the first five groups. Okay, more or less same. Then the mood regulation thing, so mood regulation thing in the 42 to 47 age group, it has achieved a peak. Okay, so younger generation is of course active in all types of music, but then initially there is a decreasing trend, but then in 42 to 47 age group, and then in greater than 54 age group, it has again achieved a peak. Okay, So this is slightly different than what we would normally expect. 48 to 53, it is not much high, it is significantly low. I don't know the reason. Okay. And another interesting point is sensory motor. Correct. So social regulation, social reward, I think they have not plotted here. They have plotted only 4. So in sensory motor also, there is not much significant difference across the 4 groups. Okay, across all the initial groups. I had mentioned in the beginning that they had actually 3 groups of people: professional musicians, participants with music training but no professional activity as a musician, and then participants without music training. So they have again tried to see if there are significant difference across these 3 groups with respect to mean scores on these factors. Okay, so again these bars represent the mean scores, the big bars, and the smaller horizontal thing represents the error bar. Okay, so you can see music seeking behavior and the stars represent level of significance. Okay, double star is significant at 5%, triple star is significant at 1%. Can you see here? P less than 0.05 is double star, P less than 0.01 is triple star. So professional musicians are most active in seeking music, which is expected. Then participants with music training are second, and participants without music training are third. And there is a significant difference across each pair. Professional musicians have significantly higher musical seeking behavior than people with music training, as well as than people with no music training. And even in these 2 groups, means people with music training and people without music training, whereas these people with music training are not professional, still there is a significant difference. Okay, so people with music training are more likely to spend money, more likely to actively seek music than people without music training. Okay, is it okay? Similarly,
Yes, ma'am.
similarly, when I go to emotional evocation, then professional musicians are feeling more emotionally connected to the music than participants without music training. Interestingly, there is no significant difference between professional musicians and participants with music training but no profession, because they have had some music training. Probably they also almost equally associate emotions with music. Okay, and this, there is a significant difference across this. So we can conclude, like, if I want to write in one statement, people with music training, irrespective of whether they are professional musicians or not, have significantly more emotional connection to the music than people without music training. Okay, and there is no difference when we consider mood regulation aspect or sensory motor aspect. So music can help you relax even if you have no music training. Music can help you, you may like to tap to a music or dance to a music even if you have had no training. In fact, an interesting point to note, if I consider arithmetically, professional musicians have lower values, but they are not significantly lower, just by chance they might be having lower. But the others, because and it's okay, because professional musicians would do music as a practice, whereas normal non-professional people would use music as a relaxation exercise, or to elevate your mood, etc. Okay, so this is very important, using the factor scores to understand more about your sample. Okay, then only we can say that the factor analysis has been successful. If we don't do that, then simply carrying out factor analysis and interpreting the loadings is not really much helpful if we don't go and do some such further analysis. Okay, yeah, this is one more visualization that I wanted to show you. Before that, let me make one point. These are simple points and their confidence intervals. Okay, same thing here, means and the confidence interval for the means. Still we are getting so many interesting insights from them. Okay, that is important. Now this is slightly different visualization. This is known as star plot. obviously because of the shape. So what they have plotted here, this is a sample plot for three different people, I think, not three different groups. Yeah, three different people. So you can draw it for individual person, or if you want, you can draw it by using mean of each group in which you are interested. So what they have done, let me first explain the components of this graph. So these lines, which are forming the star, these are actually representing scores on the 5 factors. Okay, so if the line is long, that would mean the person has high score on that factor. Okay, so here the line is long would mean person has high score on musical seeking factor compared to person B, because for person B the line is very short. Okay, then this dotted pentagon, okay, the dotted pentagon is actually representing mean scores on all 5 factors. Okay, dotted pentagon is representing mean score. So if you consider this as 0, not 0 actually, minimum score, then dotted pentagon is representing the mean score, and the outside, the dark pentagon is representing the maximum possible score on that factor. Okay, maximum possible score on that factor is represented by black line, pentagon with a black line. That's why it is same for all three participants. Similarly, dotted pentagon represents mean score, so it is also same for all participants. And the gray broad area, again pentagon shaped gray broad area, this area, this represents the confidence bounds, confidence intervals. Okay, so for musical seeking behavior, this is the mean factor score, this is the lower limit, and this is upper limit if I construct confidence interval for the mean. Same thing with other factors, and then they have been joined. That's why the pentagons are same across all three participants. The only difference is in that star. Okay, so participant A has above average scores on all 5 factors. Let me repeat. Participant A has above average scores on all 5 factors. Why am I claiming this? Because the lines which are forming the star, they are going beyond the dotted pentagon on all 5 factors. Okay, in fact, in some cases, that is in the top 3, musical seeking behavior, emotional evocation, and social reward, he or she has significantly higher scores. Okay, you can see the person has gone beyond the confidence interval. So the person has significantly high scores on these first 3 factors. Okay, on the other hand, person B is, almost like a hater of music. He has below average scores and significantly below average. It is not just below the dotted pentagon, it is even inside the broad pentagon. So it is not even within the confidence bounds. So person B has significantly low scores on all 5 factors. Okay, similarly, in person C, I can see that the person C is having significantly higher musical seeking behavior. Then as far as social reward, emotional evocation, and mood regulation is concerned, the person is more or less average because he or she is within the bounds. And as far as sensory motor is concerned, the person is below average. So the person enjoys music, but he or she does not like to tap or dance or sing along. Okay, so these stars represent some typical individuals. In fact, I think they have given some names. Yeah, participant represented in figure C. Okay, yeah. Figure A represents a prototypical highly music hedonic. Highly music hedonic means highly interested in music, as almost all the scores are more than mean plus standard deviation. Okay, yeah, they have not given 95% confidence interval. I forgot to mention that. Sorry. This is simply mean plus standard deviation. Okay, this is not mean plus 2 standard deviation. Then it would have been almost equivalent to confidence interval. In figure B, a music and hedonic, not at all interested in music. Okay, and participant in figure C shows normal values in emotional evocation, mood regulation and social reward, and extreme values in musical seeking and sensory motor. So musical seeking extremely high and sensory motor extremely low. Okay, so this star plot is another example of how you can uh, make some interesting visualizations out of the factor scores you have. In fact, this could be used in PCA also, but then you won't have such interesting names. In PCA, if you can give names, then it is good. Then you can use star plot there also. I think I had mentioned using horizontal bar plot. I don't know if you remember the case study where TV series was shown. So I had mentioned that you can actually use horizontal bar plot to compare scores. This star plot is another example of how you can compare scores across different people or across different groups. So instead of 3 people, you could get 3 groups. One is with professional musicians, second is musicians, I mean people with music training but no music as a career, and then third is people who have no music training, and then you can see on which factors they behave significantly differently. Okay, so as I said, even though this is slightly different type of factor analysis, the final conclusions and interpretations are done in a similar way. So I wanted to present this to show you how I mean how different type of conclusions can be drawn from factor analysis. Okay, I know you have been probably troubled by the theory, so that's why I wanted to show you that these are some interesting outputs that you get if you actually apply that theory. So this should hopefully motivate you to study factor analysis in a better way. Minitab. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start with Minitab first, and then after finishing Minitab, I hope we'll get some time, so we will start with a new topic, that is canonical correlation analysis. Let me stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.